Welcome back to the channel, guys and girls. Do I still love Rachel Reeves? Did I ever love Rachel Reeves? No is the answer, and no is the answer. And I do believe owning an EV on a financial basis is still far, far better than running a petrol or diesel car. Let's dig a bit deeper into this, why I think so, and give you my take. I'm going to start with why I feel you are still better off owning an EV on a financial basis than you are petrol and diesel. Even if you take in everything that Mrs. Reeves has said and done, and the Labour Party in general, and let's just make this quite clear, it would have been the same with the Tories, with Reform, Reformless, don't know. But let's just get into the basics of it. Are you better off with an EV, or petrol or a diesel car? On a day-to-day running basis, you are still better off with an EV. Now, nothing's changing for any EV owner, may I add, for another near on 3 years. 2028, folks. That's like a lifetime away, okay? So let's just remember that one. But I will bring in straight away, there are some changes happening purely for petrol and diesel car owners from September next year. Now, you might have mentioned that she said that she frozen the fuel duty. Well, that's bull, because to freeze it for only till September next year, to me, isn't really freezing it. It's just setting a date to release it again on you petrol and diesel owners. Now, it's going to match inflation. Now, to make this easier, I'm going to show you some numbers. I've kept inflation at an easy 4%. Now, it could go up even more, could be less, but I've done an average of 4% per annum over the next 3 years. I've also put no extra cost on what I expect a litre of fuel to be, either diesel or petrol, at around 140 in September next year. Because these low prices, folks, ain't going to last. This is just a glitch where we've overproduced and the demand is low. Let's take a look at the numbers. Now, I've started at 140 for a litre of pumped fuel. Could be more. On top of that, 145 following year, another 4%, 151, and so on. 17 pence difference in 3 years. That is not counting anything else that actually happens to that price of fuel at the forecourt because of world wars, less exploration, less refining, or whatever. Okay, so that is frightening as a petrol and diesel car owner. Now, let's just think it on an EV term now. You're an EV owner here today. How's it going to affect you? Now, to be honest, it really doesn't affect you. You've got 3 years yet, 2028, probably be the April of 2028, not sure, before any changes happen to you and your EV in cost. Let me just make that quite clear. Nearly forgot, there is one thing also which is a bonus to EV owners, and that is that the rate you pay per kilowatt hour in April next year is coming down by an average of around 3.4 pence. So not only are we going to be better off for the next 3 years with no actual changes in our tax system, we're going to be better off because our electricity bills are going to be coming down on average. So there's another big bonus for EV owners who definitely charge at home as well. Massive, massive. That could be a big saving per annum. Whereas if you drive a fossil fuel car, you can't do that. But if you're still charging at home anyway, you've got this super cheap 7 pence at night for the average of 4 miles. So let's have things in the right perspective. So for the next 3 years, you've got no changes, whereas diesel and petrol drivers have, because they will be affected by inflation for the next 3 years before any changes happen in EV land. So that's number one as a bonus to be an EV owner for at least the next 3 years. So here we are, it's April 2028. April the 1st. I'm guessing it could be January, but it's 2028, folks. You're an EV owner. What are you going to look at cost-wise on running your EV? Well, the price of electricity, yes. Will public charges come down in 3 years' time? Possibly, because of the competition. So the price of those could actually come down, which would aid an EV owner. So remember that one, because I can't see them going up much higher. I do believe that they will come down with competition. I just made that quite clear. So there we are. It is 2028, like I say, and you are paying an extra £255 per year for 8,500 miles each year. It'll be done on MOTs, I guess, when you go for an MOT. Now, imagine someone with a petrol or diesel car who's paying, let's say, £300 VED road tax, and already they've had 3 years of upgoing costs of diesel or petrol, at the inflation rate over 3 years. So they've had that straight on a litre of petrol, and then on top of that, or diesel, and then on top of that, VED road tax is also going up at inflation cost year on year. So the higher the, say this £300 guy, or even especially the, what is it now? I don't know what the top rate is. I don't know about diesel and petrol. Is it 550 or is it near £1,000 now that you pay for VED road tax? Imagine an inflation rise going on that year on year on top of your inflation rise on your fuel. It's a massive hit, and a bigger hit, I feel, for fossil fuel cars than it is for electric overall. Now, I've just put my little maths head on, and I have to say that if you've got a fossil fuel car in, say, September 2028, and the electric new per mile comes in at 8,500 mile, and you do the same as that, the electric car pays about £255, as I said earlier, over that first year. You will be paying at 35 miles per gallon as an average, because, you know, let's face it, some cars do less, some cars do more, but I'm doing the 35 mpg average on a petrol car. You will be paying around £185 more in tax at that same time as the 255 being paid by the EV. So that is only a very, very minor £70 difference between the 255 and the 185. That's on top of what you pay now. You see where I'm coming from on this? So the fossil fuel car owner is going to be far worse off in 3 years' time than the EV owner. By a long way. So, you know, the people who are doing the knee-jerk reactions and going, I'm selling my EV, and putting these posts on YouTube and everywhere else about the dream's over and blah blah blah, please think again what you're saying. It's not going to affect what you pay on your home charging at 7p for every 4 mile. It's not going to affect public chargers, and don't forget, as I said earlier, you're getting 3.4p off every kilowatt hour you use at home if you're home charging. So that alone, if you bring that into the equation, the difference of that £70, you know, payment difference in year 3, wow, just eats that away. If you're buying an EV for finances, you are 100% better off still by a long way by owning an EV. Just add it all up, folks, and do the maths. Don't look at the big headline of 3p per mile. Just don't. It doesn't work out that way at all, because if you do the maths, it gets eaten up by everything else. So tax wise, sorry guys, but you're still paying a lot more than any EV owner by a long way. A lot. And if you're getting a hybrid car, that's even worse, because you're paying the tax on the fuel, you know, your pumped fuel, but then you're also paying 1.5p per mile. So hybrids, to me, total waste of time. That's the one you ought to be selling if you've got a hybrid. Get rid of it now and go full electric, because that's the way forward, not going back to petrol or diesel thing. I've sat back and thought about this today, and like I say, there's still so much in favour of owning an EV. Already on TikTok and on YouTube, the anti-EV crowd have bounced on this per mile job, not giving it enough, should I say, homework before they've come out with their posts. I've finished with my EV, it's time to move on, I'm going back to petrol, blah blah blah. Think about the costs, and not so much now, because it isn't affecting you anyway, so why bother? Why come out with a video where you know you've got 2-3 years to go before it's even going to hit you in the pocket? And when it does, just consider what a fossil fuel car will hit you in the proverbial balls in 3 years' time, with the inflation rises going on fuel. No one wins out of this, folks. Can I just say that? Mrs. Reeves has strangled the motorists yet again, and there is no big winners. But if you want to, you know, have a pop at EVs or have a pop at fossil fuel cars, and literally face the facts of the monetary gain or loss, then I'm afraid that fossil fuel cars still lose out if you take in this 3-year concession until 2028 that EV owners have got, because you ain't got it with fossil fuel cars. I myself went over to EV ownership, not only for the cost, which was a pull, but it wasn't only for that. And don't forget, when I did it, I was running a 2015 5-litre GT Mustang, doing like 16 to the gallon. You know, I could just about push it to 18, 19 if I took my time. I got that thing down to 13 on average at one time over a 100-mile range. So it was massive for me on a financial gain. But let's forget the financial gain. Like I say, fluid power, silence of motoring, smoothness, 70% less parts to bother with, less servicing downtime and cost-wise. There's a lot to consider. And of course, emissions. Because I am in a frame of mind where I do care about the environment, and if I can help my grandkids get a better bit of air quality by running an EV over a fossil fuel car, then I'll do it. So 25% of my ownership of an EV is still down to the fact that I don't burn a toxic fuel out of an exhaust every day. Make that quite clear. And no, my energy does not come from coal. Grow up, people. Don't start pouring, yeah, but it's a coal. You get your energy from coal and all. No, I don't. No, I don't. Shh. Get your facts right before you state anything in the comments. Please do, because I'll shoot you down. So what Mrs. Reeves has done, oh Rachel, bless her, is no big deal. It had to happen. We all knew as EV owners we were going to pay something towards the upkeep of our roads. And when the tax came in at 195, I thought it was a bit high. I thought she could have done it for £99 on every EV, which would have been fair, because it was emission based at the time, but all of a sudden it's not. And now this 3P's come on board, which again, is 3 years away, folks. I'm not bothered about it. And even in 3 years' time, will I be bothered about it? No, because I don't want a fossil fuel car again anyway. Please realise that there is still a 3,000 plus grant for new EVs, which our UK government is giving us towards any or most new EV cars. So that's still, in fact, that's been extended. So there is that as a bonus for EV ownership. You don't get that with your fossil fuel car, do you? No, because they want rid of them. Simple. Also, don't forget the tax threshold, which was around 40k before it went into luxury car tax. That's been raised to 50k now. So there are far more EVs you can look at if you can budget for them without going into that luxury tax. So that's great. That's, 50k is more, reasonable than 40k was. Please spread the word about. Share this post if you want to. Comment below if you're a diesel or a petrol owner and you're a bit peeved by it all. Now you've seen the real facts about it, and that you are going to be paying a lot more than the EV owner now in 3 years' time and forever and forever until fossil fuel cars are no longer on the UK roads. Anyway, that's it. I'm out of here, folks. Thanks for this one. I will see you again. Please subscribe to KKN EV. Happy motoring, folks. See y'all later.